Hey guys, it's Ducati Dave and Nate.
We just shot a podcast with
Our
techs.
techs. Yeah.
And we just wanted to add that there's some colorful
language.
I can't say it.
So we are giving a disclaimer on some colorful language with our techs. They got excited. We had fun with them.
Wayne in particular.
Yeah. Jose was fine.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to say,
if you got small kids in the room
Yes.
or whatever, you may want to just be mindful of that. And we apologize, but we were just having a lot of fun. In addition to that, there's some topics that come up about how customers rate us on Google and
we're not really necessarily us, but other things that they were talking about, seeing how people kind of go, instead of talking to the company first, they'll just go online and kind of bash them instead of letting them help them first. And I think that the guys were talking about that and kind of getting a little frustrated with seeing things like that. That really doesn't reflect what we were talking about or our views.
Right. So they're just passionate. It's okay. We want feedback. If you have a bad experience with us, we want to hear about it and we want to fix it. So it's okay.
Yeah. Not a bad thing.
But so we were just having a conversation, but we just wanted to lay down some context to the podcast and
have fun. Watch it. Enjoy.
Fun. Yeah. We hope you guys like it.
Let us know. Rev up.
You've tuned into the RevUP podcast, broadcasting straight from Ducati Sanford in sunny central Florida. We're not just talking motorcycles, we're diving deep into the brilliant minds of business leaders, entrepreneurial pioneers, speed demons on the track, influential game changers, and downright rad people crushing this game called life. Let's rev up.
Welcome back to the RevUp podcast. I'm Nate. We got Ducati Dave here.
Yeah.
This is a really special episode. We actually have a couple of our technicians from Ducati Sanford here. We got Jose and Wayne.
Welcome in, guys.
Yeah, welcome in, guys.
Or a lot of guys call me Wayno as well. So.
Wayno.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fun because we're going to get to learn a little about them and get to ask them some technical questions maybe. And
talk a little bit about service.
And there's a lot of talk about service. So and we want to elevate service in 2024. That's part of our agenda. So
yes, sir.
Maybe you guys can help us there.
No.
Help us come with some big ideas.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll go with Wayno first.
I'm from here in Florida, but I kind of lived here and there, traveled around quite a bit. Been, worked in California for a while. Actually worked at a Ducati dealer out there. Then moved back. I wound up moving to Spain and then up back to States at Jacksonville. And then I came back here late 09, early 10. And then, just been doing it pretty much my whole life, man.
Nice.
He's a journeyman tech.
Yes. Journeyman tech. I like that.
And you actually just got back from not California, it was Arizona. Right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, you were out there doing some Ducati training. What were you working on?
The 698, the bike and the motor. They had 5 or 6 motors there. They had a complete bike. It's actually the only 698 not in Italy. And it's one of the prototypes. So if you look, I posted a picture of it on Facebook. And if you look at their rear sets, it's like they're hand billet machined. Because I was talking to Jeff Percival from Ducati North, and I was like, man, that looks cool as hell, And he's like, oh, you won't see that on the production bike.
Yeah.
And he's like, prototype, Wayne.
Yes.
Prototype. I'm like,
Nice.
So, but they're going to implement, and it's coming, they're implementing a lot of new stuff. They were telling us, one, about the 698, and don't be surprised if you see it on 2025 models, that if you try to use UpMap or Brentune or some of these other aftermarket tunes in the bike, it throws a specific code that stays on until you reset it with DDS. Oh. And the code basically says someone tried to alter the ECM. So FYI, if you don't buy the Ducati stuff, it could affect your warranty.
That's amazing. Wow. That's amazing to know. It's good, too, because when we have problems or stuff like that, they can narrow it down even better. Look, this is what it is.
Yeah. But it's just something they're doing as kind of a fail-safe to let them know, hey, somebody's been in here trying to mess with it.
Yeah.
So when you go to those classes out there, I know, Jose, you just got back from training not too long ago too, but like, what is it like? You get in there, it's like literally being in a workshop, you're wrenching, you're tearing down motors. Is it like going to work or is it more instructional? Like what does it look like?
Probably a little bit of both, I'd say.
Yeah, 50-50, I would think.
Yeah,
Well,
because they're not talking to you like you're a student. You know what I mean? Like you go in there and you're there because you've been doing it a while or you're there for whatever. So basically, like, did they do the same thing with you? They just basically handed you a notebook and a pen.
Pretty much, yeah.
And said, we're going to go over this stuff and tell you how to do it, but we're also going to tell you how to do it out there in the real world, not exactly by the book.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, and trim the fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Well, why don't we tell us a little bit about you?
You're
Jose.
Jose, I know Dave for quite a long time. And I'm from Venezuela originally. Been in the States for 28 years, I believe, or so.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
been working on bikes most of my life. And originally came to the States to get certified at MMI, and ended up staying. And 20-something years later, I'm here. So,
And you've worked with some pretty big race teams.
yeah, I had the opportunity to work with, a few Motor America teams and some European riders that they came to Motor America.
Yeah.
And it was quite the experience. So
Yeah,
it was
with-
awesome. Yeah,
It was. So you did with the MGO Suzuki team, right?
Suzuki M4. Yeah,
Right, M4.
Yeah.
And then with Felipe McLean's team.
Felipe McLean. I
Yeah.
was with them a few years, and then Tyler's.
Tyler, yeah. And didn't Felipe get like the fastest trap speed at Daytona at one time?
Yeah, he did with the H2R. Yeah,
yeah.
he's still holding that
He's still
record.
holding it, yeah.
I believe.
You were
I'll
with Team
say-
Hammer, weren't you?
Yeah, Team Hammer. Yeah.
Which is a big deal, man. We're so happy to have both of you guys with us, man. You guys definitely elevate our service department and making us grow and get better and better. So we're really happy to have you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we have some stacked up talent in the back.
Yeah.
So, you hear all these stories or you read some reviews stuff, where people are dissatisfied with maybe things that happen in the service department. And a lot of it's through communication where maybe things just weren't laid out to them. The delivery wasn't the best, or maybe their warranty didn't cover them, or whatever it may be. But like, there's guys in the back that are like really putting a lot of passion and
The time.
and work into making these bikes run.
And getting them out there on time, the hardest part, which we all know about, is getting parts. You know what I mean? You order parts from Italy or get an answer from Italy takes time.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. And that's one of the things we were talking about, conveying to to our family members and our customers that listen, this is not a Yamaha or Kawasaki or anything else.
Yeah.
Just to get an answer takes what? Almost a day? A day to two?
I've had it take a week, especially around the holiday time.
Oh yeah, they
you know.
close.
So explain that to us, because a lot of the folks that are maybe listening to this, they don't know the back end of how this stuff works.
No.
So like when someone comes in and it's a diag or a diagnosis, we're trying to figure out what's wrong with their bike. You basically have to plug it in to what?
Depending on the diag,
Right.
like it might be electrical with a multimeter or something like that. I will say this though, reviews, whether it's us, a restaurant, or anybody else, it's always a one-sided thing.
Yeah.
But so you hook it up to DDS, right? Let's say you have a check engine light. You hook it up to DDS, the software, and you go from there. But depending on what it is, if like I know you've had a couple too, where if it's like a quick fix, like okay, this is obviously the problem, and usually it's okay, but you do a UTEC case. It's what's called a UTEC case.
Right.
So that goes to our area rep, which is Alex, and he covers I think up into Alabama, Georgia, maybe South Carolina a little bit. So it goes to him, and he's got to answer to Italy on some stuff.
Right.
And basically he gives you the yay or the nay, whether it's covered or not. It's not up to us, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
He says, yes, I agree with you. This is the problem. I just had one with a gear position sensor, and Ducati covered it, but he wanted me to check certain things. Hey, just to eliminate, just do me a favor, check this and this. No problem. Check it. Hey, this is what I found. Yeah, let's throw a gear position sensor in it, Wayne. Get the gear position sensor down the road.
Nice.
But it's basically it's when you want somebody else to pick up the check, you play by their rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
sure.
I've had it before where like I wasn't going to even open up a motor, but I had to get Otho just to put my hands on it to start taking it apart.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got to play by their rules too.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any feedback on that, Jose?
Well, one thing that I'd like to add, to that is that, the Ducatis are, motorcycle that it has so much technology and they're so complex, that a lot of customers, they're not aware of it because they don't really work on them.
Yeah. Right.
But, we have the chance to work on them. It gets pretty in depth, and sometimes a diagnosis could take a little bit longer than usual. It's not like just look at it and, you figure out what the problem is.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind,
And you're not new to the European world, but maybe the way that things are going, like how you have to do that, have you found it like difficult, or
Has it been like
It's definitely been a little bit, I wouldn't say difficult, but it's just different than the Japanese bikes.
Yeah.
But we have the tools and we have the support from Ducati.
Yeah.
And everything's been running smoothly, so it's always a plus.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That always helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you're big into bicycles too, right? You do a lot with mountain biking, and you're actually pretty damn good from what I remember.
Yeah, well, I'm very consistent, and but I do cross country, mountain biking.
Yep.
So I do a lot of training, put a lot of hours, as much as I can, throughout the week, and always trying to be competitive. So it's something that, like, if I stop, it's just I gotta find something else.
Honey badger.
Yeah.
That's right. You're a honey
Talking about
badger.
that before we left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's have you found any of the bikes or anything that you guys work on that either is easier or a little bit more difficult to work on, or do they all seem the same? Is it the same formula, or do you notice that getting to one bike is harder to do than the other one?
The
And
older
Ducati
bikes, I
ones.
think they're easier because you don't have that much electronics and so much body work, and everything is not so tight like on the newer ones.
Yeah, everything's compacted in there, right?
That's unreal.
It's unreal, right?
Yeah, I enjoy working on the older ones too.
Yeah.
I always do.
So what do you think about dry clutch versus wet clutch?
I like a dry clutch.
I'm
Dry
a
clutch all day long.
Well, to me, a real Ducati has a dry clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
What,
Dry,
do you
dry
use
clutch.
dry
Yeah,
clutch
yeah.
too?
I mean,
I always wondered that because I don't know if I ever told you guys the story. I built the owner of Patron Tequila, Ed Brown, at the time. His at the time wife called me when I worked over at Magic City, and they wanted a black one. We were the only one that had a black 11.9 SP. And so we built it all up, did it really cool, all carbon fiber, everything, opened the clutch cover because, they always come close, put the nice red inside of it, put the carbon black over it. And we didn't have gas at the time. Our gas thing was out. So across the street is 7-Eleven, right? So I ride the bike over to 7-Eleven, and this poor nice guy, he comes up to me and he's, Poppy, turn it off. It's brokey.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm grabbing the clutch and letting it out, grabbing the clutch. He says, see, it's broken. I turned it off. I go, it's a dry clutch, man. It's supposed to sound like it. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it was so funny that people don't recognize, or some people don't know the understanding of a dry clutch.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Why do you want a dry clutch? What's so important about a dry clutch?
It depends. It's not a longevity thing at all.
It's not a longevity, but it's a power.
Performance-wise, you got less slippage in the clutch. You don't get the clutch contamination in the oil. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And honestly, to me, it's just that I like that sound.
I do too.
Like my 996, man, I'll pull up at a stoplight and you'll see people just
Yes.
Yeah.
like rolling up their window, but I like a dry clutch. To me, it's just, that was the big thing, like with all the old window heads back in the day, like 851s, 888s, old stuff, it always had that clack, clack, clack to it,
Man. You can hear, we go to bike nights, right? And you're out at what was it, Steak and Shake. And, hear the bikes come. So you hear Kawasaki, Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, all these things, right? And all of a sudden you hear this clack, 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 and you can hear it coming. Yep. And it's just deep sound, and everybody would just watch it. They'd stop talking and just look, and it was a Ducati. You really did.
Yeah.
So that's what I think I fell in love with them back in the days. And we all rode, and we've all ridden different bikes. We all own different bikes.
Oh, yeah.
But there's something about that feeling and listening to it. And that
And also,
build.
back in the day, race bikes had a dry clutch because, you needed to replace clutch plates every other race, or,
Oh, that makes
to this
sense.
day, well, MotoGP to this day, every Yamaha, Kawasaki,
Yeah.
all of them, they all have dry clutches.
Yeah.
You see Rossi's leg with that bright, his boots, and right next to it, you see that dry clutch.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. Yamaha, Honda, all of them run dry clutches.
Every GP bike has a dry clutch.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Even some of the 250s back in the day, like the RGVs, the Aprilia SPs. Suzuki for 1 year and 1 year only actually made a GSXR 750 limited. I think in 80s, was it 86 or 87?
It was early
87,
80s.
right?
87, and it was a dry clutch bike.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I don't think we've ever seen one of those in person.
I have.
Like, I haven't, but I know about them.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
No, they're hen's teeth, man. Like I said, they only made it 1 year.
It's what I call the pedigree of race bikes. If you had a dry clutch, it makes you turn around and be like, that's a serious bike right there. Because it's not something that you can, let me just cut the clutch cover and get rid of the oil. And, you got to have like a proper setup to run that. And the proper setup translates into, that's a badass bike right there.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to own a 99, was the last year for the 900 SS.
Yes.
I had a final edition. They only made 500 of those. And I ended up selling it, which I regretted to the day.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, it is what it
I get another one. So,
Yeah. And you actually have some old school bikes, and
Yeah.
so you. So I don't know if you know about him. We just came out of a cafe racer kind of podcast just a minute ago, and bringing him in, he builds some of the cleanest old school bikes that you'll ever see. Wayne does some really cool stuff too with skis and all that, but they both have their own little thing that they do. And you've got what?
I got a few bikes,
few
but
bikes.
They're from the 70s.
70s. Yeah.
Like
You would fall in love.
750 Honda, bikes like
nice.
that they back in the 70s there were like the nothing was like that, it was like the top, it's like breakthrough, and so 750 Honda, Goldwing 1000.
2-stroke.
I have the RD 400, which is that one I turned it into a cafe racer, and it's just the with expansion chamber, so whenever you roll into a bike night, people hear it.
Yeah.
It's like it sounds different because it's a 2-stroke, so I like that, and the smell,
Zing. Oh yeah, smokers.
Yeah.
Do you
They're
still
still-
see in Venezuela, like in your youth, you probably seen a lot of those bikes like
Yes.
that, right?
I
is that-
a lot. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then the
Yeah.
Chinese market took over,
Yes.
and then the big brands they left the country to build bikes or their factory out of Colombia or Brazil, and we don't have that anymore. But it was big back then.
Yeah.
It's like everybody had an RD 350 or RZ.
RZ,
RZ
yeah.
250 is the one we have. We had the Japanese version
Yeah.
of the RZ 350 here in the States, and it was like I remember growing up seeing those bikes. I was like, man, that's
You fall in love.
Oh yeah.
I always wanted an RZ. I've had two RD 350s and a 400. I've always wanted an RZ. You can't touch them now for less than 12
Oh yeah.
grand.
No. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
they're- it's
everybody wants
ridiculous.
$1 million
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Especially if you can find a Canadian one with the full fairing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Those
what
are
I like
sick.
about vintage bikes is that I was born in 1975, but some of those bikes that I own, they're even older than me.
Yeah.
And whenever I go to a place or someone sees it, they bring up this story that they had. Oh, when I had that bike, I was 18 years old, and I'd love to hear that. It's like, it's like kind of like owning a little piece of history.
Yeah.
And then whenever you get those, guys telling you what they did and what they didn't do, it's like it's awesome. It's just it's like kind of like rewarding,
Yeah, man.
Eh,
Totally.
Yeah. And you just came back. We were talking about, but you didn't bring up something. You got to see a piece of the new dirt bike that's coming out that they gave you a little glimpse of.
Yeah, there was a guy there, a suspension guy from Italy, and the Desert X is going to have the KYB forks.
Yes.
So they were showing us that, and they showed us some of the Motion Pro tools, and it's like, well, you're going to need these for something, da-da-da. And he had something in like a blanket, and he shows it up, and it's like it was like fat, like 54, I mean, huge fork.
Yeah.
And it was this Works fork, like every adjustment imaginable on it. We're like, whoa, and he goes, no pictures of it, da-da-da, and then wraps it back up. Then we're like,
So yeah, and so we all thought that they were going to put Oleans on the dirt bikes. But
Yeah.
they're not.
No.
yeah,
They're
no.
not.
And that's funny because
Yeah.
the guy told us, he's like, well, he goes, I know Ducati, we're road race, Olins, Marzocchi. He goes, but you talk to these motocross guys, yeah, forget all that fuck,
They don't want that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't work in the motocross world.
Right.
You see motocross bikes, everything's got Showa, KYB, that's it.
Right. That's it. Yeah.
Or maybe
Or
like
WP.
WP
Yeah.
for a KTM gas or Husky,
Yeah.
stuff like. But even some of those Works guys, if they're not on an official factory team, you'll see those guys bolting Showas on them.
Right. Right.
You know?
That was really cool. You got to see that before anybody else.
Yeah, and
That's really rad.
that 698, like I said, it's the only one not in Italy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Because they're coming, and we have a ton of deposits on them.
Yeah.
Ton of deposits. So I'm excited about seeing this bike.
Yeah.
But so I kind of have a question for you guys. So if you could kind of explain to everybody out there, like explain to them the best way to deal with service, like knowing, everybody, I think by the time they get to you, they're already pissed. We learned there's a clock. All right. Their clock starts way before we know it. Their clock starts the moment their bike has brakes, has a problem, right?
Yeah.
So by the time they get a hold of a service rider, they're already pissed,
Yeah.
right? So what we really need to focus on too is having the service rider validate, listen to what they're saying, validate it, not fight with them, say, all right, let me see what I can do for you. I can't guarantee anything, but I'm on your side. Let's see what we're going to do. We're going to get our tech involved. Let's get everything in here. Let's see what we can do. What would you suggest after that point? what you know what I mean? To get with these people and let them understand, hey man, we're here for you. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a matter of customers understanding that, it's not a Japanese bike where parts are available right away.
Right away.
And just be patient that, like you said, we are on their side. We're not trying to push the bike to the side and just let it sit there. And, we're trying to do the best we can to get it, out in time for them to, keep riding and
we don't
enjoying
want
it,
to keep their bikes.
No.
Right? We want to get them back out there. But there's a misconception
what it comes down to is communication, I think, and things just get delayed, and the information isn't delivered
correctly.
Not correctly. Just like there's just a delay in how the communication is laid out, and customers feel like they're not being informed enough. Or
Yeah, but that's not necessarily true, because I've said that, sat down with Nick, and he showed me a list of almost twice a day to once a day of them explaining to them that, hey, we're working on your bike, we're waiting on this part and stuff like that. So there is still something that I was trying to say where maybe they can, by our tech saying, hey, listen, we're here for you, we're on your side. It does come from Italy. It does take time. The communication is there. But there's something.
Not always.
Not always, but I have seen it.
Right.
I have seen it, and what I'm trying to say is yes, the communication, 100%. But I've seen both sides of it. But you guys are there for them. You're there to make a paycheck. You're there, but you're actually there to get them back on the road.
yeah,
and
but
make them
they're
happy.
they're working in the back of the scenes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got someone
Frustrated at the front.
like a hostess on the front, like
But
delivering
they're-
the information.
Yeah.
But we hear a lot of, the tech didn't do this, or but that's what we hear. And I'm on the front line, so I'm the ones. I always come to you and talk to you about things, and always ask you
So-
guys, right?
Yeah.
The communication thing, like I agree and disagree, but it's remember on the RO, there's a thing. When did it happen? How often did it happen?
Yes.
Da da da. There's a list of questions to ask.
yeah.
Sometimes those get asked.
Sometimes
they don't.
Right.
And sometimes it's me or you get handed an RO. Bike does this. Okay, what was the situation before that?
Exactly.
Like
See, that's
tell them everything you know. I hit a bump at 32 miles an hour
And
on a
it did
cloudy
this.
day,
Yeah.
and in this heading east. Like the more
See, that's
information you
one.
have, the better.
So would it be
Like when you go to your doctor, you don't go. He doesn't go. What's
nurse.
wrong? I don't know.
right?
You know what I mean? Tell them everything you can
The nurse
because
sits
that's
down
the
and
quicker
asks.
turnaround time.
Right, and that's my point. Should we have? And I hate to do this, but we have to change something. So if the service writer can't get you the information, why wouldn't we not have them come out with the service writer, with the customer, so the customer can say, Jose, Wayne, this is what's going on. At 32 miles an hour, my bike goes, and I can't figure out what it is. Because when it gets to you guys, like you said, either it's diluted, it's not conveyed correctly, something's missing, right? And you said
I mean, it doesn't happen all the time or anything
Correct.
like that, but it does happen.
does happen.
But the thing is every time we have to go out and talk to a customer, 2-3 minutes turns into 25 minutes,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then he's losing time and money.
Correct.
Everybody's
so
losing
there has
time
to
and
be
money.
a fine line.
Yeah.
there.
Right.
There has to be a fine line.
You know?
But you guys, I think, too, would help the situation. With the tech saying, hey, man, you know what I mean? I understand. I'm here with you. And maybe build that value. Because back in the days, and Ron will tell you, when Ron would talk to customers, they felt better. They still talk to the service writer. But when Ron came out and said, hey, man, I know this is what's going on, but did you notice this or something like that? I swear to God, we had less heat cases when the techs would be more interface. And you know that, and you know that.
yeah.
You've been
I've-
dealing with this with customers.
Well, no, I've talked to customers
Right.
plenty
we,
of times.
We have Miguel, right?
Yeah.
I don't always have the
Yeah.
greatest language when I do.
Well,
but-
but you know what? That's
We
true.
really
That's
want
true.
Wayne talking to customers.
But you know
I
what,
mean-
though? Listen, I would rather have somebody be honest with me than lie with me. And if he says it raw, I'd rather him be raw. Hey, this fucking thing's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we do?
Well,
Buy
that-
a new one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, besides Bueno, having that little bit of communication with the customer, I think is key.
Yeah.
I really
But
do.
it's also communication not only with the customer, the service advisor communicating with the technician, and them working as a
Right,
team.
right.
But
So
there's,
these
that's a
things-
third-party
And
conversation.
The one thing I've encountered over the years, and I see it here and there, is it's like once somebody gets on the counter for a little while,
Yeah.
they think they know more than they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's the gas I just rebuilt, the top end. I get it. So, yeah, it's noisy on the top end. Sounds like valves. Probably just needs a valve adjustment.
Yeah.
Who are you? Are you a mechanic? No.
Well, now the customer hears him kind of saying that, so it's in his head.
Yeah.
So I go over to it, and I'm like, that ain't
Not what
valves.
it is.
And you can hear the piston
that's
slap.
not what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so I knew it was piston slap.
Correct.
You know, I've had my hands in the motor a time or two and pull it apart. You can see it seizing on the intake side, which is the cold side, because all of a sudden he's revving it and getting hot.
Yeah.
And I can remember the one I showed you? I can sit there and dance the piston inside the cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of play.
See, this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I think it's going to work out by learning from them, because you're right. Those are front line of the service writers.
Yeah.
Sometimes take a little bit too much initiative to diagnose something that they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, like we call it a counter diag.
Counter diag. And then they have to turn around and go, wait a minute, that's not correct. So this was something I really wanted to do today, because we can fix this. Yeah. But it's going to take time.
I will say this, though, careful with having the mechanics talk to the customers, just because some guys will come in, and now every single time they come in, even if it's something simple, something stupid, whatever, or not stupid, whatever the case may be, then they're going to want to talk to the mechanic. Go get the mechanic. Go get that guy. Go get that guy.
That's a true statement. But maybe we can figure out a fine line.
Right.
It really is. Because let me tell you something. When I go and I drive all the way to Ocala to have my car worked on at Volkswagen, the mechanic is a person I know. And he's always the one that asks me, hey, what's going on with it? Anything like that? Anything I need to know? No, we're good. Boom, he's gone.
Yeah.
There are people that will take advantage of it. But that's when I think our front line needs to say, hey, man, let me see what I can do for you. If you have a question, let me see. If it's something that really they need to be like, hey, something's going on. And I understand that. But I do think that you guys would make it, how do I say it? Almost take a lot of relief off of the customer by just them knowing who you were. Mm-hmm. You know, Miguel, for instance, what I was going to tell you, he had a little issue. He came out, looked at it 2 seconds, but Miguel was flying off the handle, which I understand because he's riding a motorcycle. He came out 2 seconds. I don't think anybody else could have diffused it besides me, but he came out and went, look, don't worry. This is what it is. I'll fix it. We'll take care of it. We'll get you set up. Took him inside, got him to the service writer, told him what to do. He went in. Miguel came back and goes, that was amazing.
Miguel's all right. He gets real hot-headed real quick.
Perfect.
And the only thing with Miguel is you just got to talk to him.
Correct. And that's my point. Because a lot of customers don't know who you guys are. Yeah. They really don't.
Also, the other part that I wanted to add is the customer, when it's already pissed off, and it's trying to talk to the mechanic.
Yeah.
And, you're coming in with an attitude.
Yeah.
Right. We're off to a bad start. But if you come in like trying to understand what's going on, let me explain it. And, I want to listen to what you're going to say.
Yes.
That changed things. But when they come in
and they're hot.
Yeah, it makes things even.
Yeah, it really does. And you guys are. I
agree with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you guys are you're there to do your work and do your stuff. But you guys are rock stars in the back. You really are. You guys take motors completely apart, fix what's wrong with it, put it back together. Like that one bike, we won't say any names. The one that the dude ran without oil, you just rebuilt this whole Ducati in the back. The whole
V4 motor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the whole bike. We won't say any names.
When you say motor, you got to be specific.
Well, I mean,
there's like how many BMW S1000 motors have I done? Like,
but I mean, you haven't replaced the whole bike. You haven't done that in a while, the whole V4. But you have done this bike, and it took time, right? And it took all this, but the whole time
you got to plastic gauge every fucking crank bearing and rod bearing,
and these motherfucking. It's the whole time.
Yeah.
But we had to go back and forth with Ducati too, because the crank in that thing is $5,000 fucking dollars.
Yes, yeah,
and they're not just going to go, here you go.
Yep, yeah.
No problem, man.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. A little bit of more education with the customers like we're doing right now, and bringing you guys and being honest with them. I think honesty is everything. I think when people pitch heat or they don't tell the truth or don't want to tell the truth or afraid to tell the truth is when shit goes sideways.
Yeah.
Well, you're dealing with people's broken down dream. I mean, this is their escapism. On their weekends, they want to ride, they want to enjoy their bike, and then when it breaks down, they're super passionate about it. So they come in, they're a little hot sometimes.
But a lot of people try to like hide the issue, like they don't want to tell you they f***ed it up.
Right.
Like if they reached their hand into it and did do something quite right. You see it a lot in like the off-road stuff, and you see probably more of it off-road. And I would say honestly, watercraft.
Yeah, watercraft. Oh, of course. Oh no, I didn't run it up into the sand.
No. Yeah.
I didn't.
I don't know how that.
In.
Turtle and rock and piece of chain link got in there, but like guys will f with their shit. It's like, and I don't want to say any names, but
Sorry for the explicit language.
But no, but he's cool. In fact, usually when he comes in, he usually likes me, and if I'm not there, Ron working on his bike. Yeah. And he had an issue with another shop where his oil pan was stripped out. on the filter, on the cartridge filter bolts.
Yes.
And he goes, well, you know, and like he kind of, you know, alluded to, well, you guys did an oil change like, you know, a year or so ago on it. And I'm like, and you mean to tell me in 9,000, and I know him. So I walked over, I was like, you mean to tell me in 9,000 miles, and I know you do some track days, you've never changed it between, and I said, hold on.
Of course.
And I pulled out that little special tool I have with the oil pan off that motor.
Correct.
And I said, watch the tools that we got. Did you get yours?
Yeah.
Okay. And I put it in there, and he looks, and I said, the threads don't touch it. I said, somebody's hammering bolts in this to walk that
pulling it
cover
out.
off,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's hammering the threads. I said, this tool stops about 2 millimeters before you get to the thread, and it's like a puller, and it walks it off.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, oh.
So guess what? You coming out and doing that, fix something.
And then he was cool. He actually went to the parts. He goes, you got the parts list? I said, yeah. I said, it's all in the RO. Just get with our warranty admin, Alicia.
Yep.
He gets the parts list, orders it, pays for it, and said, I'm going to take it back to that shop, and that motherfucker's fixing it for free.
That's right. And that's a
So,
true
but it was
statement.
funny because at first he's coming in like, well, you know,
Real
you
hot.
guys.
Yep,
It's
real
like,
hot.
wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And
there's
that's
two sides to it. Like the comment I made before. Any review, whether it's a restaurant, a dry cleaner, you know,
Correct.
whatever, it's always one-sided.
Right.
Yeah.
It really is.
You know, I've seen customers sitting in the waiting area listening to the phone calls and just go, holy
God,
shit.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
people are this fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like they say that.
Yeah.
Like, wow, it's like all the time.
Yeah, I was scrolling on Facebook and I seen an old post from Anthony Bourdain. Remember that?
Yeah, before he passed away.
Yeah. And he was talking about how Yelp reviewers are like just the absolute
Worst.
worst.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you know, chefs, they go and they put blood, sweat, and tears into opening a restaurant, and they're so passionate, and they, you know, save money and get investors to come in. They open this restaurant, and then these guys come in and they have, you know, for the opening night, and they completely
Shit on them.
shit on the menu or whatever, and write these reviews. And
Yeah.
it's
And
just,
then-
like, and it's just like,
and what
the chef's
happens
sitting
to the
like, are you
person?
kidding me? I've worked my ass off.
Yeah.
On this. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everything I got into this, and you're gonna go and do this.
And do this. And this poor guy who did all this because some junk didn't like what they had. They didn't like the onion or whatever.
Yeah.
Ruins this guy's feelings. And I mean that in a really honest way. Because like you said, that's so good to say that because people have feelings. People do things because we want to do it.
I mean,
not
we
only for
read
paycheck.
every review we get.
You-
and,
we
I mean,
cry.
It's just, man. When people
Then-
put up,
yeah.
sometimes they're right. Maybe we did screw something up, but there's some that are disparaging, and it's just like, man, do you,
Well, there was
Doesn't make sense. We
there
have
was one
on
review
there.
from a guy
Yeah.
that he actually was mad about and this particular person has come in several times, and it's always like, well, this is how much it is. Oh, well, can you do it for this? And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I've never gone to like Publix
Yeah.
and been like,
Yeah.
I know it says $5.99 for the milk, but here's
You do-
$3.
Yeah, here's $3, and I'm just gonna kind of walk out.
Yeah, like no, it doesn't work that way. But you get these guys that always want to do that, and it's like,
It's hard.
you know, like it's if you buy something for $1 and sell something for $1, you're not going to stay in business very long.
Correct.
I don't care what fucking business you're in.
No.
But you get these guys that always want to haggle, and it's like, man, you know how much money I've spent? Like they'll bring, well, you know how much money I spent here, regardless of what it is. It could
Correct,
be
correct.
a this bike, a that bike, a this four-wheeler, whatever.
Right.
And it's like, you know how much money I've spent at Walmart,
They don't
Winn-Dixie, and Publix? I've never gotten a fucking free half gallon of milk, not fucking once.
Right.
You know, and but these guys come in and want to do it all the fucking time.
I love it. No, and you're right because. Okay, let's go back to theirs. What do you do for a living, sir?
Mhm.
Okay, so how about I go to your job
Yep.
and not have you get paid? You know what I mean? How about I go there and say, okay, I want you to do this. I want to go to your tattoo guy, but I only want to give you this after you do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've
It's
done
like,
that to a customer
Wait
before.
a second. You know what I mean?
He tried to get me to rebuild his forks for 2 hours. He's like, it's 3 hours, hour and a half per fork. But that's totally apart. Clean them, new seals. If it needs bushings, because
Yeah.
you're already down to it. And he's like, would you do it for 2? And I said, would you go to work for 8 hours and get paid for 6? He just looked at me like, well, of course
Right?
not. I was like, but you're going to ask me to do it. Like my time isn't worth shit.
Yeah.
His
Right.
time isn't worth shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
right. This
because-
is going to be the funnest one so far.
But no, but that's but that's what you get to feeling like. Like my time's not worth shit. How many nights have you stayed in late? How much traveling have you done to get where you are as a GM owner?
Right.
You've put in that fucking time.
yeah.
Yep.
You've done the travel. You've been away from your family. You know, I worked at I worked at our other store in Lakeland for 2.5 years. I was driving an hour to 3 hours each way sometimes. You know, because because the owners and GM there. You know, I've known the GM for many years, and okay, cool. You know, and they were good to me and all that. And I stuck it out for those, but it just got to the point where I was losing time with my daughter.
Right.
And I'm spending a couple hours each way driving when COVID wound down in the traffic, you know, and it's like,
people
you're gonna fuck my time. You know what I mean? Like my time ain't
they
worth
don't
shit.
take that into account. You know?
Right. They don't take that into account. They think because you're a big dealership, you it's almost like it's magically you just got up with this money and you put this place up and it's, you know, well, I feel special and I should be able to go in and get something for free.
Charge people.
Overcharge them.
Like you see this big building, there's rent.
Money making machine.
Like, oh my God.
You see this? You see these lights?
Right.
Like somebody's got to pay for that shit. You see these special tools? You see that that fucking $2,000 DDS box sitting there?
Did you buy that? No.
The DDS software that you've got to pay for every fucking year?
Yeah. No,
you know,
it's true.
nobody takes that into account. Well, I can take it to my buddy Bob that works out of his garage. Yeah, because Bob works out of his garage. He gets some money. He goes buys some meth. He's good. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Right. No, it's true. It's honestly got true. And that's what I never understood the whole thing with the world of I'm going to bid on something, right? Like the companies. Okay. Our state. I'm going to call 6 people who build roads, right? And I want to get all these bids from them, and then I'm going to take the lowest fucking bid. Okay, do you know what you get on the lowest fucking bid? The lowest amount of work.
Yep. Yeah.
And the worst work.
I mean, I get it. We charge what we charge. It is what it is. But all the other shops in the area, when they're like, oh my God, like, dude, was it the muffler shop down the road? That Tuffy or whatever?
Yeah, Tuffy. Yeah, Tuffy.
Whatever.
It's Tuffy.
They're charging $160 an hour.
Right.
My cousin's a master tech at Mercedes at Sanford. They're $250.
Oh yeah.
If you have an AMG or a diesel, they're almost $300 an hour.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, but like,
So
but I also understand that like when people are paying that,
that's their hard-earned money.
But exactly, and I bust my ass for my living just like a lot of other people, man, and I understand that, but at the same time, you know, if they're paying that amount of money for an hour for work, they expect that level of work.
100%.
You know.
And that's why it should be done.
Yeah.
And I mean, mistakes are made, right?
Right.
Like, things happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Cost of doing business.
It's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we mess something up or we do something wrong, you know, we hold ourselves accountable. We're going to make good on that, right?
I forget what it was. I was doing something, and right when I had like shit, and I went and grabbed Nick. I was like, Nick, it's me, da-da-da. I did this, blah, blah, blah. And I told Nick, I was like, it's my fault. If I got to pay for it, I got to pay for it.
Right.
And he was like, man, if you cost me $100 and something once every 6 months, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was an honest mistake, you know?
And
We're
just
human
like that,
beings.
I think we got banned off of TikTok. Seriously, look.
I did it! I did it!
Wayne did it. Oh my God. We got it.
That's awesome.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know. It says something on there that we're in trouble. No, I was
it's
kidding.
okay.
No, it's just a joke.
It's fine.
I was kind of proud of myself for a minute,
you
man.
did good. You did good. Then you do it straight to the motherfucker. I tell you what, I always respect and appreciate you guys, and there are some people that do. You know, we have some customers that are loyal. We have some customers that are family, and they're the ones that I think never really ask for much. Some will, some won't, but those guys love you guys to death. And I don't think you guys know that enough.
But some of those guys that come in, like some of the guys you see that come in there all the time, I get it, man. Like if they're in there all the time and, you know, they spend a little bit of money with you. Like there's one guy that's followed me for years. His name's George Bechtel, and he's got a Kawasaki Vulcan. Vulcan Vaquero.
Okay.
Vaquero, yeah.
And he's everywhere I've been. Like he brings it to me. I work on his bike. Yep. You know what I mean? And that guy will go have his coffee. He's retired, you know, and he goes and has his coffee with his buddies.
No, he's not. It's a Raider.
No, it's a Vulcan Vaquero.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Because his last one, he put 70-something thousand miles on them.
He did, yes. I know who George is. I know who he is.
And he's a retired guy, but when he goes and drinks his coffee, you got to go there and ask for that guy. That's the guy, you know what I mean? But like a guy like that, you do a little extra for because he champions, you know. And many times George has handed me like a 10 or a 20. Here, man, get yourself a beer after.
Exactly.
You know.
But back to it, the people that come in that are regulars, they really do appreciate you guys. I want you guys to know that. They always think Miguel will come in and thank you guys. You know what I mean? A lot of the guys,
he does.
when they get done,
he was in the shop the
they
other
do
like
thank
last
you
week
guys. Yeah, they thank
me.
you guys. So I wanted you guys to know that because you guys really don't get the recognition you guys deserve. You know? It's really true story. So I want you to know that. I always want you to know that we have your back too.
And just, you know, the customers need to know that, you know, we're doing what we're doing and trying to do our best to make them happy.
Yeah.
So
That's it. Honey badgers don't care.
exactly.
When they're not, because when they're not happy, they go to you guys. Then he's yelling at me. And,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah. No, I'm flying off
I'm
the
just
handle.
brutal.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
He beats
evil.
us. Just so you guys know, he beats us.
He stabbed me with a broken bottle of Cholula once.
I got hit with a fork in my neck. You know what I mean? I was bleeding.
Well, but like it's Jose just came in last year, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
pretty
but
much.
it's a year now.
But he came in last year, but like a lot of the guys like got used to like with Ducati, like me and Ron, and there's a lot of customers that come in and now people more and more are getting to know him.
Yeah.
So that he's getting some of the people, is Jose back there? Jose, okay,
Yep.
But a lot of guys will come in, me or Ron, or because Ron's been working on some of their stuff for so
Forever.
long.
Forever.
It's like, well, if Ron's not here, I want Wayne doing it. And
Yep.
now some of the people are starting to see him too,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then, and sometimes the Indians as well, because, we work on Indians.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
And Ron's a big Indian guy. And he's a big Indian and Ducati
And
guy.
Ducati, oh, yeah.
That's his gig.
Yep.
Yeah.
I worked with him for a very long time over at
gonna have Ron.
another place. Yeah.
Oh, we got to have
Yeah.
Ron on.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's
And we'll
really
set up a little train right here.
Yes, we go around. Well, so do you have anything you want to, anything else or no?
I think we covered a lot. I mean, it's a really fun conversation.
Yeah, and it's something I think we needed to
Absolutely, yeah.
have. I think
Very
it's something we needed to
colorful.
have. I really appreciate you guys. I always pull for you guys and always thank you guys for everything you do. Both you guys, Ron, all the guys in there. I always thank you. And I know that we're, when I got people yelling at me, I come back, I ask you questions, see if I can fix it. And I always try to help you guys out the best I can. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for this year, the goal is really to elevate that service department, and that's going to come through, having conversations like this, and working with you guys directly, working with the front of the house guys. There's a lot of training that needs to happen up there, and kind of get the synergy going between the techs and the service writers, so that it's more of a partnership, and you guys can work
No
together.
counter.
You got to.
Yeah, you see it here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give credit to Alicia.
Yeah.
A lot of dealerships.
She's our backbone.
A lot of dealerships don't have a warranty administrator or
No.
like anybody that's really kind of working on behalf of the customer to get that stuff pushed off to warranty and approved and done correctly.
Yeah.
And she's in there like in the trenches every day.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
totally forgot.
Yeah.
We just came back from San Jose.
Yeah.
Sorry, we came back from San Jose for our soft spinning skills, and she did amazing. People loved her.
Yeah.
She really did find her little niche and listen to what they were teaching, and hopefully that will come out.
What was that? Because that was a lot of that was service related.
A lot of it was service related, front of house related. It was more about really not taking things personal, learning how to diffuse things and really kind of calm it down and explain that same thing I've been saying the whole time, which is we're here to take care of you. Give us that chance before you wear us out, before you constantly berate because it's not that we don't want to do it. It's because we're trying and we have there's avenues that we have to go through. And it was really cool. And I hope that she got a lot out of it. She had to answer a little questionnaire the other day. I did mine too. And I really appreciated it. And I hope, they keep doing that and keep training. And
I think she
helping
should
us.
be here as well.
Yeah.
We
I
should
think that's a
do
good
it with
idea.
her
We'll
now.
do
Maybe
Ron
we
and
should have Ron
Ron
and
and Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. But we want to thank you guys for coming on. It has been fun. I like it. I like
Awesome.
because this is the more about what we are into and the things that
Yeah.
we need. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Wayno, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And
Keeping
Jose,
it real,
thank
keeping
you.
it real.
Keeping it
Yeah.
real for
Oh, and
sure.
by the way, for the 698 motor, like I think I was telling
Yeah,
both of you guys this morning, don't be surprised if in another year you see a baby Desert X, a sport bike, and maybe a monster.
And you heard it here.
you
Maybe
go.
not.
No, they were talking about it. They're like, yeah, this
It makes sense. You got to do something with that motor. I mean,
Yeah,
they have to.
they're going to
Yeah.
use it for other platforms.
Yeah.
Is what they said.
Which is pretty rad because we need something like that.
And the dirt bike's going to be.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Just so you guys know, Paul Holton, who was on here, is going to get one of the first ones, and we're going to
Oh, wow.
build a timber sled.
Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing. I already spoke to Ducati a little bit. We're going to get Nate involved, and we're going to build a timber sled for him, which is the tracks.
Bro, I know what it is, but
Badass.
it's
Wow.
what the hell's he going to do with that in Florida?
He doesn't.
No, he goes up to Colorado.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he rides snowmobiles.
But it's all in the matter of what the hub is, like the conversion
Yep.
to the hub size and everything else.
Yep,
I
that's
did
how-
one of those on a YZ years ago.
Yep.
In
That's what we're
California,
doing.
guy used to take it up to Big Bear.
Yeah, he's going to be out there, and we're actually going to do a big thing. We're going to fly out. We're going to have professional riders on it. It's going to be pretty cool. So you guys are going to see that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on what
Instagram,
TikTok.
Facebook.
Tip Jose well when he dances in the evening.
And don't forget, Rev Up. Yeah.
Rev up, you want the truth, it's within you.